Let's take a look first here at a question we've been tracking across all of the primaries so far this year, asking Democratic voters, would they rather see a nominee, given these two choices, who can beat Trump or who agrees with them on the major issues? And here you go. You're seeing here in Michigan, 57% saying they'd rather have someone who can beat Trump. That question asked in Missouri as well. Very similar finding, 59-37. If you're looking for some comparison here, these numbers are pretty much in line with what we were seeing in a lot of those states last week on Super Tuesday. Virginia, Texas, for instance, those numbers basically identical, close to identical to what you're seeing here. Another important demographic fault line to keep an eye on here. Race tonight, 72% white in Michigan, 18% black. Remember, Michigan in 2016 had the highest share of voters who were black of any state that Bernie Sanders won. I actually checked in at 21% black. The electorate in Michigan did in 2016. It is 18% in this exit poll, but that was it. 21% black. Bernie Sanders barely won Michigan. Any state with a higher black share of the electorate in 2016, he was unable to win. Michigan was his ceiling there in 2016. Of course, Mississippi was a big problem spot for Sanders in 16. That was the big reason why. And you see again tonight, almost 2/3 of the electorate in this exit poll in Mississippi is African American. That's the largest number we've seen so far. It was 57 in South Carolina. This exit poll telling us it is 64 in Mississippi. I don't have a graphic for Missouri, but I can tell you the number there tonight is 17% black in the exit poll. Also, among white voters in some of these states, this was an important category to be looking at in 2016. Here you take a look in Michigan. Among white voters, 37% are non-college white, 35% are white voters with college degrees. This was a group, non-college whites, especially as the primary season wore on in 2016, that Bernie Sanders was doing very well with compared to Hillary Clinton. Certainly in the general election, that was a group that Hillary Clinton struggled with. One of the big reasons that Bernie Sanders was able to win Michigan in 2016 was support from this sector of the electorate. So you see 37% non-college white. We're going to be tracking that closely tonight, how those voters went. And you can see in Missouri, it was a similar story, by the way, and tonight, 45% non-college white there. And again, Sanders didn't quite win Missouri in 2016, came within 1,500 votes. It was the closest state in the entire primary calendar in 2016. But again, this had a lot to do with why he kept it close in 2016. We're going to see tonight how it stands 4 years later.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.